We are live. Good day. Hello. Welcome. It is Solstice, and this is Hug Nation Live. I am John Halcyon Stin, and okay, I'm back on coffee. So thanks for your patience as I weaned off last week and a little low energy, a little low optimism. Thank you, coffee. Thank you. Good morning, Dell. Good morning, Mingle. Good morning, all who might join on this glorious solstice. Hello, high noon. Anybody have any gratitude they'd like to share? I would love to hear it. I am looking forward to sharing a little bit of gratitude, a little bit of intentionality, maybe a little bit of Q&A if anybody's got something on their mind that they'd like a little thoughts and feedback on. And to make sure that we don't get too serious on this day, I'm gonna make up a song. It will be lots of silly play. And if we can keep singing and make up as we go, we're gonna have a good time on this Hug Nation show. Well, it's Hug Nation time, and it's Hug Nation time, and it's Hug Nation time today. Good morning. I love you too. High Noon says, gratitude for Shoshana and your conversation. Thank you. It's so nice to know that someone has been checking out the YouTube videos. My YouTube channel has not been getting a lot of algorithm love lately, but last night I did an interview with Shoshana, who is a regular in the noon gratitude circles, which are free and you're always welcome. You can find all links to all my stuff most of my stuff at lifestudent.com, or you can send me a message and I'd happy to send you links to things, such as on the screen right now is a mention of the Love Ambassador meetup in January. If you'd like to start the day with a small group of like-minded, open-hearted people to kind of get some zhuzh and energy and optimism and hope to go into the new year and be equipped to be a agent of love in the world this coming year, then reach out and join us. And Shoshana is an art therapist who's been doing these really cool projects that, with clay, having very part of the healing and somatic healing. Yeah, it's beautiful stuff. So I was glad to get to talk to her, and that went up last night. Periodically, I do interview people, not very often, but there's a whole playlist on Hug Nation YouTube channel of conversations, or Conversation Nation, as I call it. See how that rhymes? Like Hug Nation, Conversation Nation. Christelle, dear brother, says, grateful for being in rehab at Agora Hills, California. Haven't felt this good for years. Grateful for not drinking. Oh, super happy to hear that. Awesome, Chris. I actually just saw on my calendar, Friday was my 3-year anniversary of quitting ketamine. My alcohol sobriety was a couple months later because I had a nice little clinging to intoxication for a couple months before I finally let go. But that was 3 years ago plus 2 weeks. That was a wild ride that I've talked about recently and much in the past. Thanks for sharing, Dell. I gotta say that, like, if you would have asked me 5 years ago or 10 years ago, or if you would have told that, gone back, if I could go back in time and talk to young me and say, hey, in 10 years, you're gonna be monogamous and you're gonna be spending your Saturday nights home alone. No, excuse me, not home alone. Home with your partner, coloring and watching Netflix. You're going to skip Burning Man, and you're going to be happier than you've ever been. I would have assumed that I had a head injury of some sort, but It's true. So happy. So grateful. Are there things I miss? Of course, but the in exchange, I've had incredible blessings. Reverend Mingle says, I have gratitude for being invited to a Shabbat service by my friend Rabbi Shavia to light Hanukkah candles. Cheva. I, I actually I sent a message to my friend Tevia this morning. Years ago, he was dressed up as Santa as a party, and I have a picture of me on his lap, and I sent him that picture, plus a picture of me as Santa this year, and said, "My, how the tables and beards have turned." Merry Christmas, Dell. Chris Bonk says, yesterday I woke up unable to focus with my right eye. My right eye is my reading eye as I have cataract implants. In effect, I couldn't use my phone. Luckily, it was just dry spots, and lubricating drops brought back my vision. I was panicked, so I'm grateful to still be able to read. Ooh, boy. I am glad to hear that you're okay. I'm imagining that an experience like that is very effective at increasing your gratitude for simple things like sight. I was reflecting on an older acquaintance friend who's struggling to hear, and they've enjoyed going to plays their whole life, and getting to a point where they're unable to follow plays because the when people are laughing and they just can't make out the diction, even with the help of hearing aids or those audio aids that they have in the theater. I mean, like live theater, not movies. And I was just really pondering how significant some of the most basic parts of life are that we take for granted. Being able to listen to a play, being able to read. Welcome, Pagan Island and Joe. Chris Bonk says, exactly. Yeah. I am grateful that it is solstice. It is the shortest day of the year, the longest night. And I'm grateful for a little sermon that Lisa gave about solstice recently. And she was talking about celebrating the dark. And, in the Western thought and new age and personal growth, we often talk about the light and pursuing the light. But in the Quechua language, which is Peruvian language, dark is associated with lots of positive things, and it's associated with the womb, and that all life and rebirth comes from darkness. So darkness is this celebratory, uplifting concept, and I love that idea. So I hope that you are embracing darkness today, as well as looking forward to the days getting longer. Whew. Welcome, Brent. Chris Bonk says, I think it was 2 years ago you were suffering neck issues at this time. Yeah. And actually, thank you for that reminder. I mean, it was nothing like a debilitating pain or a chronic nonstop pain or loss of sight or vertigo or something that makes you so grateful when you get to the other side of it. If you can get to the other side of it, just be like, oh man, every day that I do not have that nerve pain is so good. It doesn't require anything else. No achievement, no glory, nothing. Just to not hurt, just to have basic functionality is so significant. I'm going to take off this banner on the screen. So if you want more information on the Love Ambassador meetup in January, please reach out, say hello, see if it's a good fit. It may not be. There was someone who reached out and we talked for a bit, and it's like, I don't think this is a good match. I should say that Lisa has said that I don't make it clear enough that I do one-on-one coaching. So, and I do have availability. So if you're interested in a mentor, cheerleader, coach, advisor, I I do that professionally. So let me know if that we could talk about, have a call and see if we're a good fit. I only I only work with people if it's mutually beneficial and joyful. So uh, I won't pressure you or make you. I'm not a salesperson. I am a joy enthusiast, and I only want to spend my time working with someone if they are going to take it seriously. I mean, not seriously, sincerely. Sorry, and and I think that I can make a difference in them being able to enjoy their life more. Otherwise, the rewards aren't worth me taking time out of other projects. High Noon says, I'm grateful for a trip out to the Berkshires, the ability to show love for my anxiety of coming out here. These lands have given me life growing up here. Beautiful. Good morning, Brent. Anyone else want to share any gratitude? Is this pop guard distracting? I think it probably is, but I was noticing myself popping on the mic. I am grateful that Asher is coming tomorrow. Amy and Asher are going to come out for Christmas vacation break. We're really looking forward to playing with Asher. He is like 6.5 now, and his mind is so creative and silly, and really, it is fun to hang out as well as it is so illuminating because I get so many peeks into my younger version of myself. Not that we're the same person at all, but there's traits and tendencies and that I don't actively remember about my childhood, but I see him do things and say things and act and react and mannerisms. And I go, oh my gosh, that just totally brought back this awareness. So good. He's a beautiful little human. Juan, good morning. Juan says, I'm grateful for my beautiful small family. Thanks for sharing. Christelle says, I believe that transcends physical pain. I think that relief from any pain is something to be grateful for. I've been chasing relief in the wrong way for years and finally have healthy solutions. Totally. I was actually in a conversation this weekend and reflecting on one of the significant shifts in my my general thinking patterns when I was in active addiction versus now, and especially the weeks right when I was stopping doing my habits, was letting go of or fighting the instinct to want to feel good all the time or feel better. What would make this better? What would and so anytime I didn't feel great, that old version of me would be like, how can I feel better? I mean, I still struggle with that. Like I often will comfort eat or scroll, but more destructive was I'm gonna get a buzz on, and suddenly this kind of evening turned into a fun evening. And of course, that's a short-term analysis of pros and cons, and it takes a much higher self reflection to go, if you want the deeper joy, you have to stop trying to find the momentary joy so frequently and so quickly. Christelle says, yes, finally, exercise, meditation, gratefulness. I'm working on my exercise and my meditation, but I definitely have a gratitude practice that is a huge part of my life. Anyone else want to share any gratitude today for the solstice, for something in their life they've been taking for granted, something magical that is happening or has happened or is about to happen? Juan says, spending time with one's child is by far my favorite time. Mm. I'm grateful that I got to spend some time this weekend with Dimitri, my such a good friend and brother, and has been so supportive of me. I got to tell him this weekend, I said, you have had unwavering belief in me from the moment we met in 1999. And it's so good, so nourishing to have people in your life that just believe in you, even when you're have doubt. Just go like, you're something. And what made me think of that is he now has 5 children, including twin 3-year-olds. The oldest is 11, so from 11 to 3, 5, and to witness and hear about his attitude towards life. I mean, he's so busy. He's running a company in addition to this, but he has set up such a beautiful life where he lives in this kind of property, larger property, with his beautiful wife, his who I married. I did their ceremony, by the way. His 5 children, his in-laws, the grandma and grandpa, live with them, as well as a live-in nanny. So they've got this whole community that is intimately working together to have family and community, and it's so inspiring. I mean, I've known him a long time. I've known him since long before he ever considered having kids. Actively was not on that path, and to witness the deep, healthy contentment that he has in this incredibly hectic life is so awesome, so inspiring. Natasha says, good morning from the sweet, cold desert of New Mexico. I am so grateful for my chosen family, that my father-in-law is here now for a few weeks, and that my aunt-in-law was able to fly with him here and at least spend a day with us. I'm grateful for my partner who makes all these things possible and shows up for everyone every day. Thanks for sharing that. Also grateful that her 5 dogs aren't driving anyone crazy while they visit. Oh my goodness. And I'm thankful that Pops trusts me enough to care for his feeding tube while he's here. Oh, that's a beautiful, intimate, loving connection. Good morning, Gerbot. Happy solstice. Good to see you. Welcome, Ocean Star Galaxy and Mo Romero and Heidi. Good morning. Anybody want to share any gratitude for today? Heinen says, I'm grateful to thank a speech pathologist I had in middle school last night. I have not seen in decades. Oh, what a cool experience. Vocalized gratitude is such a gift. I'm so grateful for my partner, Lisa. I can hear her singing downstairs right now. She's on a different Zoom, and I'm so grateful to have found partnership. In my 50s, being able to commit to a relationship, to a partnership, to a life that was so beyond my reach and even beyond my dreams in the younger version of myself. I'm so grateful for our communication, grateful for the trust and the ability to say something or share a thought and it not become like weaponized or fixated on. I We had some plans change, and when she first requested that we change the plan, I had like a little stinging, a little negative thought, and I paused, and she's like, "What?" And I was like, "It's I don't really believe it, so I don't." And she's like, I really want to hear." And so I shared this thought, and I was able to have faith and trust that she wouldn't hear it and get defensive, that she could hear it as a way to understand, the complexity of my brain, knowing that I was not holding on to that thought. And so therefore she didn't have to hold on to it or judge me for it or judge herself or feel negative. And that is a level of communication and trust that I've never experienced to this degree with anyone. I don't think you can ever truly know another human being. I think that the degree of which we can know our own thoughts is, 1,000 times more intimate than we can know anyone else. But the being dedicated to try and listen is really a beautiful pursuit. Linnea, happy solstice. Nice to see you, and sending love to you and Brad. Welcome, Mike and Flory and Sherry. Sherry says, "Good solstice morning. Grateful for dogs and to live in an apartment where I have my own bathroom." I love that. Thank you for sharing that. I was in a conversation yesterday where I realized how grateful I am for our bidet. We had some guests over, and this guy in his 60s came out. He goes, "I just had a first. That's the first time I've ever sat on a heated toilet seat." He goes, "Well, like that. I mean, in the past, if it's ever been heated, it's kind of been that gross feeling like, oh, someone was just sitting on this." But yeah, we have a nice heated toilet seat, heated bidet, and I I almost can't imagine not having it. Like last week, we have a cleaning person that comes occasionally, and they were cleaning the bathroom with the bidet, and I had to go number two. I know, too much information, but I I was like, "Oh no, like I don't wanna have to use the other toilet where there's no bidet." How quickly we can take for granted these incredible blessings. So, yes, uh, I don't remember the brand, but if you remind me, Natasha, I'll tell you, I I'll try to remember to share the brand of bidet. My brother's even got a nicer one. His is like the whole toilet. Ours is a seat cover um, but I love it. It's also, well, you know what? I'll take a pause from bidet talk. Uh, Anyone else want to share any more gratitude? I'm grateful for this year ending. Grateful for all that's happened this year. Uh, Betsy and I just put up a new episode of Stay Sparked. It's about kind of year end solstice rituals, about ending and beginning and season changing rituals. And as we talked in the episode, she brought up that this year was filled with all sorts of things, including the loss of Janus, our co-host of Stay Sparked. He passed earlier this year. And I was like, whoa, whoa, that was this year? And it totally flipped my head and like, and this happens every year. The way my memories and my mind works, I just I need reminders. Like if you said, "What happened this year?" I'd be like, "Not much." So at the end of every year, I go through the calendar and I kind of just go scan each month and go, "Oh, that's right. I went on that trip. Oh, that's right. I did that event. Oh, that's right. I," and then I list it all out and it's really uh, helps me to feel that my life is fuller than I genuinely have the concept of it that it is. And to be reminded that earlier this year is when I went through the process of him dying and the grieving and the memorial and like, wow, for a that was a lot. It's a big year. Will do, Natasha. DTO! Happy solstice to you. Thanks for saying hello. Anyone else want to share some gratitude before we head off into our days to spread this good vibe, this gratitude into the world? Um, Natasha says, grateful for my 48th year around the sun, starting my 49th tomorrow. Happy birthday, Natasha. I'm so grateful for the way our lives are intertwined and connected right now, and for the way they've been in the past. Someone asked me recently, because I'm pretty vocal about how I was not available for true partnership in the past, and I didn't really envision a life partner. I mean, I couldn't imagine, growing past being over 40 years old. And someone asked me, "What do your exes feel when they hear you talking like that?" And I was like, I don't I don't think that's a surprise. Uh, um, but if it ever is uh, touchy, or I hope that we have enough connection that we could talk it through. Slumber says, "How did I end up here? Far out, man." Man, isn't that the glory of life? Is sometimes you just find yourself exactly where you're supposed to be. What are you grateful for? Happy solstice to you. I hope this is you we look back on this moment, Slumber Inc., and we both say, "Remember when we just accidentally ran into each other in that live broadcast, and both of our lives are so much better because of it?" Incredible. Welcome, Alfie and Noah. Heinun says, "I'm grateful for the spiral idea at the beach. I'm off to run the hills of the Berkshires and grateful for this body to experience that." Thanks, Heinun. Enjoy. The spiral idea is something that a ritual that Betsy mentioned on the podcast, of going into nature or into the beach and drawing a spiral and then walking out into the spiral and reflecting. And I'm less of a ritual person on the woo woo scale. I'm like one half woo, not a woo woo. Sometimes I get up to one woo, and Betsy is closer to woo woo, but she's totally changed my whole concept of woo woo, because she is inarguably happy and of service and growing. And before you criticize any woo woo practices, evaluate how happy that person is. And I don't mean like a false facade of like, I'm bypassing love and light, but like, what's their baseline vibe? Slumber says, "Happy solstice. I'm looking forward to the light. I'm grateful for my eyes and ears." Lovely. We were talking about that earlier. What a perfect thing to take from the below the surface of awareness and bring it up into no longer taking it for granted. I can hear, I can see, I can walk and move, I can smell, I can hear music, I can dance. I can hug. I can feel the warmth of another body. I can allow sounds to come through me and communicate my thoughts. What a trip. I was watching this cool video about kind of the history of humanity. And, in early civilizations, it was limited language. And just thinking about how different, I mean, even if your brain was just as smart as it is now, without the framework of language, y- you wouldn't be able to form the same level of thoughts, and you wouldn't be able to communicate. So you wouldn't be able to learn from others and reflections and fine tuning and debating and like, wow, what a different, what a gift all of this is. Well, we're getting ready to finish up and head out into the solstice day. I hope you have just a beautiful, if short, day today. Juan says, this gratitude practice is like starting out the day at home, no matter where you actually are. One of the mottos of Hug Nation is, it doesn't matter where your feet are, it matters where your heart is. And that is how, using these digital tools, we can feel connected in this place beyond the physical. We can feel home in the vibration of gratitude and connection. Slumber says, I'm grateful for our existence. Do you know how low of a chance that you ended up on this rock that is hurling through space? Very low. Amen. Notice I changed your wording from I'm grateful, from you should to I'm grateful. So I hope you don't mind. Totally. Have you ever read the book Pronoia? It's, or, have you heard of the word pronoia? Pronoia is the opposite of paranoia, meaning that believing that the world is conspiring in your favor. And when you think about this earth is just the perfect distance from the perfectly strong star, that we have the warmth that we need, and we have the wobble, and we have seasons, and we have light and dark, so that creates this incredible fertile world of plant life that supports animal life. It's and a degree or two difference throws things off. 10 degrees massively. And so that we're in such this pocket of miraculous conditions. As you say, Slumber, grateful for existence, grateful for being able to ponder and think. And from that place of intense gratitude, I think we can often pull ourselves from places of despair, not denying that there is suffering, there is struggle, there is injustice. But while that is true, yes, and it's a miracle that we have the ability to be conscious and alive. Welcome, Sean, and we are Divine Wellness. Hello, hello. Linnea says, this connection right now has truly blessed me, and I'm so uplifted and oriented and inspired and feel loved by this. Thank you for having this available for me. I'm so happy to hear that. Thank you for being a part of this, for adding your ingredients to this gratitude stew that we can now ladle out all day long to everybody we meet. I do this every day on Facebook and YouTube, and some days I also make it so that it goes to Instagram. So if you're ever missing me on Instagram, I'm here every day at 9 a.m. I'm going to say every day, almost every day. I reserve the right to practice immediacy if I am traveling or sick or something like that. Shelly Joe says, grateful for gifts chosen for me today. Grateful for love and patience. Grateful for a warm home and heart. We Are Divine Wellness says, so grateful for you here on Playground Earth. I think that's a beautiful way for us to close our gratitude gathering day. As I said, here every day at 9 a.m. You can go to Hug Nation channel on YouTube. You can also find all of my stuff at lifestudent.com. I say all that stuff with the exception of I don't have anything on there right now of the mini retreat that I'm doing January 10th and 11th in San Diego. So if you want to be in person with myself and 6 to 12 other love ambassadors, we're going to get together for some workshops, some dancing, some art, and really just charge ourselves up to head into the next year as powerful and as inspired and as resourced as possible. Hug. Oh, before you leave, Slumber, you gotta, if you've never been here before, we close with a hug. Slumber says, I hug you, farewell. Villetta says, playground earth with you good people. Oh, thanks everybody. So before you leave, wherever you are, we've been doing this for 24 years. Used to be led by Grandpa Caleb here, and now we do it on his behalf. Wherever you are, give yourself a squeeze. And as you're hugging your body, seriously, do this, hug yourself. Imagine that you are not just hugging your body, but that you are squeezing me and all the people who have been through this space today and who've ever been through the space the last 20 years, anyone who has come and joined this Hug Nation energy of connection and gratitude, and feel us holding you and squeezing you, celebrating these little bits of gratitude, bringing into awareness the things we take for granted, being so aware of the privilege of being alive and conscious on this fertile planet. And no matter what you hear on the news, the world would rather hug you than hurt you. There are millions and millions of like-minded, open-hearted people, many of them guarded because they think they're alone. And as we walk our paths of being outwardly kind, we are giving them permission. We are extending an olive branch. We are permissionaries. So know that you being your authentic, beautiful self is activism. So let's take a deep breath in and squeeze one another. On behalf of Grandpa Caleb and all of us here, thanks for being here for this solstice love morning, this Hug Nation gathering. I love you. Have a beautiful day. Please stay in touch, lifestudent.com, or send me a note in any way. Happy solstice. I'm glad we got to share this, Slumber.